Hi, my Windows users. I am going to walk you through some of the setup things that you need to do to prepare to use Git and GitHub. The reference document that I'm using is here from theodinproject.com. If you go in their curriculum, this is actually an interesting little site, um, and go here to setting up Git. Now, these instructions really apply to Mac, Linux, and Chrome. I'm going to talk to you about the things that are a little bit different if you are using Windows. This is still a really good reference document. So the first step is to install Git. And what you will need to do as a Windows user is go to gitforwindows.org. gitforwindows.org. When you get to this site, then just download, follow the instructions, go through all the defaults to set it up. All right. That will give you Git, and it should give you this other thing called Git Bash. So if I go here, or if I go here to search, Git Bash, all right? And Git Bash is going to be your terminal window whenever there's a reference to terminal. Okay, I'm just going to put this over here. So you go through the steps to install Git. Then these instructions you need to do in this terminal window. So again, that is your Git Bash terminal window. You can go through this to set up your name and your user email. You should not need to do this because the version that we have is already uses main. This verifies that it's fine. If you want to just verify that you have Git installed, if I say Git version, Git minus minus version, then it tells me that Git is installed, and this is the version that I have. Okay. Now, then you need to create a GitHub account. So you're going to GitHub and you're going to create an account. I already have an account here. So just go through those steps to create an account. Then you need to create this thing called an SSH key, which is what allows you, it's basically like the password system that we'll be using for your repositories. Now you can follow the steps here, but you might see a little bit more. If you want to see a little bit more, if you Google GitHub SSH, then you should be able to get to this reference in docs.github. And it tells you all about it. Again, it's an important skill to get over the fear of reading documentation like this. So if you want to know a little bit about what SSH is, you can do that. You probably will not have an existing SSH, so you don't have to do that. What you need to do is generate a new SSH key and just walk through these instructions. Tells you these things that you need to do in your terminal. Copying and pasting this doesn't really work very well. I think there is a way to make it work, but I couldn't find it right away. So I actually typed these things in when I did these instructions. If you type them in, you've got to be very careful and make sure that they're exact. So you will go through these instructions to generate a new SSH key. Then you will go through these instructions to add that SSH key to your GitHub account. You'll go to your GitHub account, to your settings, and you will see something over here about your SSH keys, and this is where you would add them. Okay. You only do this step one time. We only need to do this setup with this SSH one time. So that's this step, linking it, adding it to your GitHub account. There are some things here that you can do if you want to test and make sure that it works. But we will then continue to go through this in one-on-ones and in live session. And then the last thing that I want you to do is to install Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio code download. So this is going to be the editor that we're going to use. And you need to just go through the instructions here to download it and install it. All right, so those are your instructions. Kind of use this document as your general reference. What's different is that when it says to install Git, you need to go to gitforwindows.org in order to do that. But all of the other instructions are the same. This, for example, that says Mac OS users, so you don't need to do that. But all the rest of the instructions here, creating your GitHub account, creating your SSH key, and linking your SSH key are all the same. So hopefully you'll be able to get through that, and then we will talk about it more and start using it in this week's lesson.